Welcome back to the channel. It's part 2 of the Father Christmas carving thingy. You can see I've done a little bit more work, but today I'm going to try and concentrate on put an inlay in the eyes. So first off, what we'll do is we'll take the eye out and then put an inlay of white, so to represent. Then on top of that, we have to put the eyeball itself, that's the white, and then we'll put the iris in after. Okay, what I'm going to do, we'll get here, we can see, on this eye here, I'm going to take his eyeball all the way out. I'll do this off camera because you won't be able to see me do this, but I'll level it off so we can put an insert of white wood in there. Any type of wood will do, as long as it's fine grain. And I might try a little bit of jacaranda. That's a nice easy wood to carve, and it doesn't go very brittle when you're carving it, you know, chippy and all that. It's fine grain. By the way, I forgot to tell you all that I've never seen this on the internet being undertaken. Okay, hang around and we'll see what happens. Alright everybody, just carrying on with this carve. The last few jobs I've done on my GoPro 9 pictures did not come out very good, and so I've thrown that aside and I'm using an old camera, which works perfectly well, much better than the GoPro 9 and 10 and 11 or whatever they bring out, which is piles of junk. Anyway, carry on with this little guy. Okay, you can see that I've got the eyes in. Now I'm about to put the irises in. So the eyeball's in, irises are going in now. Now, it's a bit of work in that. I've measured the iris and what I think it to be 6mm and about 3mm thick. So I'll get it for you, and what I did is I found a bit of suitable material I want to make the irises out, and that's what I've done. Just that. Right, just down there, you see that alright? So that's the shape it's going to be, and then I'll put it in there. I'll show you up to how it looks, how it's going to look in there. You can't get it very much of an idea like this, but I'll put it in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a hole in there. It's a little bit smaller than the eye, and then I'm going to insert it in there. Now, in no way in the world can I show you actually doing that, but you can see my end result. All it is a little bit careful cutting with very sharp instruments and or scalpel blade. You can do it. I can do it with these. These are very sharp. This very thin. I can actually cut them with that. And the whole idea is you start on the smaller size of the eye. This is tapered. I don't know if I can show you if it's. I don't think you can pick it up. But it's tapered. The taper's going like. If I get there, it's going like that. Can you see it? Get around there. So it's tapered, so it's the smallest taper end of the little plug that sits inside there. Now I'll make that out of salmon gum, and salmon gum comes up east of us, east of Perth, where the salmon gums are. You probably see them on the road. Those whitish looking trees that you see between York right up to Southern Cross and even further up towards Kalgoorlie. And I chose that colour because the colour of the wood at the centre of the branch, a particular different colour to the outside of the wood. Salmon gum has got a pinkish type of wood. It's quite nice, but the centre of this was a light brown texture. Hello everybody, finally getting it underway. I don't know if you can see the hollow there. Okay, and we're going to fit this little tiny bit of wood to it, which represents the iris. So we'll see what happens. I'll set you up on the job and we'll have a little looky, see what happens. Looks better, doesn't it? Nicely. So what I'll try and do, I'll fiddle around up here, see if I can get it to sit in there. So we're going to have the tapering in first up. Not quite fitting. Oh, watch out I don't lose it. Not quite fitting. I don't know if you can see it. No, not really. Oh well. I'll just take a little bit out. Now what I'm using here is a little half round chisel. Okay. Half round chisel. Nice and sharp. And all we do is just run it around the edge like so, and just follow it around. So we go like this. Get into that position that everybody can see. Okay. Just, I can see, I'll just take a little bits out. As I say, I've never seen this done on the internet before, so this is the first. If I could get to hold that there and then run my chisel around and mark it, would be nice. But we're getting closer. I wouldn't say very close, we're getting closer. So what I'll do, I'll get this little eye, the iris, and I'll chamfer it back. Now that means hanging on with my nails. You've got to have some nails to do this job. Just chop off a little bit. Just be careful and saw it off for a slicing action. Now what you got to watch out, if you aren't going to use super glue, you're just going to use ordinary glue, you make sure that don't let it slip in and get the chance so you can get it out. But if it's got a taper and you're fitting it to the taper, you should not actually not go right in. It's not quite there. starting to go in there. Okay, now I've got to take a little bit out, just a fraction out, and the tight spot is down the bottom of the eye there. I don't know if you can see it, probably can, yeah. I'll point to it with the pencil. Little tight spot is here. I'll try and get that out. It's going very good at the moment, fingers crossed. Right, comes out easy. When you're using a chisel like that on the eye, don't lever up against it, you got to pull with your finger. Like a cutting action, just to clean up the bottom. You just scratch away. Once that eye goes in there and it's stuck in there and you can't get it out, you can't lever it out, you've got a problem. I would like to set it with using this type of glue or Type Bond or anything like that. Aqua Deer, doesn't make any difference. And see what happens. It's easy to work with. With super glue, it's like a plastic form, and that can be difficult to scrape away. But you've got to be able to scrape away. But as I say, super glue, if you get it to fall in and you can't get it out, don't try and force it out. Right. Just because it doesn't go in there doesn't mean say it won't go. Just not going in there properly now doesn't mean say it won't go in there. So you've got to balance everything out to get it to go in. To find the spot it goes in. Because it went in a while ago. Check there's no burr. As so, I'm taking a risk. This could be a big flop. But I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to do this. It's gone in that little fraction more. It's not seem to be. I'm going to find out. I think it's top part of the iris up here. There's a little bit of the material's got to come out. Give a chance. Let's see. Yep. Slicing action. Gently. If I go the other way with the knife, I will tear out a bit, so I've got to come back across the grain here, like so. Get him in closer. And of course it's leaving a mark where it's trying to press in. So that way, can't go wrong. You won't be able to see it, but as it's sitting in there, it's starting to mark it. Well, it's telling me, take a little bit out. A little bit like that. Don't want to go too much with a knife. Take a little bit longer. You've got to be precise with this because you don't want to leave any jagged edges. Drag your chisel around without touching the sides. She's going. is in. There we have it. Inserted right down. That looks alright. Okay, thank you for watching. Now I'll do the other one and I'll give you a looky-see after that to see what you think after it's all been cleaned up and dried. I'll give you another 8 hours before I start doing that anyway, before I take the last video for you. Okay, now with the other piece of wood I turned up for the iris, I can probably show you a few things on here already that do appear on the piece I just cleaned up a while ago. Let's see if we can get the light to focus on it. Okay, so you can see the iris is quite big, and right in the centre it's darker. That was planned, and how I come about doing that, I didn't know if it would work out, but it has worked out spot on that one. And you can see on this one here, if we get a little bit closer, the dark centre part. What that is the first growth part of the branch, which I happen to have one hand, and I looked at the end of the piece of wood and I could see it, and the variation of the colour was on the outside of it, so I picked up and made sure that I centred it both ends right in the middle of that eye spot there and in the eye spot there. And what's happened, that has come out spot on in the middle, the dark spot, which is the oldest part of that branch, so it's a different colour. So you can see the nuclei is a little dot, then you got the darker brown circle there, which is the little tiny bit, and then you got the iris, which is the larger area. So with a bit of luck I have got what I wanted. Let's see if it turns out once I've stuck in there exactly the same. So I'll show you how I cut it. Right, I put that there, put my fingers on either side and hold it firmly on a piece of wood, and then off I go. That gives it can't buckle on you and damage your iris. So you go around like that. Then you catch it in your lap. That was close. The first one I lost a couple of times, so you always should get well over it when you're doing this. Okay, right, now I'll fiddle around and I'll fit this. And I'll get back to this. Okay, the super glue that we use is a super glue that runs very quickly. I tried out this one and it does. I've already put some in, but I'll just show you. Probably can take some more, and I'll see if I can show you how quick it runs in. Straight in it goes. So it solidifies the wood. Just clean your tip on your glue and put it back in. Very good. They're getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper on the market now. Just run your finger over there just to remove that excess. Come back in about half an hour when it's solidified out and we'll finish it off. Okay, just recapping on a few things that I've done there. Here's the piece that I used to make the eyes, and what I observed is, I can probably show you, I don't know if you can see it, you can see the centre there, there's a dark mark. Well, that dark mark is what I call is the centre of the eye. Comes up as a real dark spot in the middle because it's the oldest part of the branch. So I cut a piece about 50mm long, centred right on the centre of those 2 points, then machine it right down so I can get it to the size I wanted, which in this case was 6mm. Then worked out my depth, how much I wanted to cut it down, and how much I wanted to make the thickness of wood, and then cut 2 blanks, put chamfer on it, so that when you're pushing into the wood, it was pushing into the wood and not just falling into the wood. And on both occasions, and the first time ever on the internet have I seen this done. I've seen it done with glass eyes, where they take half the eyebrow out and redo it and put other stuff in, but never have done this. Now I'll just get to work and thin that right down carefully. I'll get back to you then. Anyway, before we go, you can see that I've put his whiskers on, or his beard. There's still a little bit of work up here to do. In the picture that I do have of him here, shows him without the lines, fine lines. But it looks right too. It looks right like that. But I'm putting all the fine lines in too, because I don't want it to be the same. I just was getting ideas of how to do it. It sort of come out to what I wanted to do, but I would like to see him smiling a little bit more. Okay, and that would have mean going deeper in with the cheeks. Sorry, not with the cheek, with the nose, and then rounding off the cheeks here. They come around here, so the definition right through here. But because his head is elongated, that's how I've carved it. Give you that appearance. Anyway, it's all in fun. It gets you thinking. Watch out for Father Christmas, he's coming for you. Yeah. All the best. Have a happy new year along with a good Christmas. Cheers.